Would you cut your child's fingers off just because he might draw on the wall? Of course you wouldn't. So why would you declaw your cat just because he might scratch up your furniture? Declawing is an unnecessary procedure that has absolutely no benefits to the cat. It's all due to the owners and their needs. Many people get this done because they don't know what it actually means to declaw a cat. So what is the declawing procedure? Well, ASPCA.org describes declawing as the amputation of the last digital bone, including the nail bed and claw on each toe. So that would be the equivalent of cutting off the last little bit of your finger right here. Most people think it's like a manicure, you just cut off the fingernail, but there's a big difference between a human nail and a cat's claw. A cat's claw grows actually from the bone, whereas a human nail grows from the skin. There's several different methods used to declaw a cat, and they're all listed on vetinfo.com. The most common being the guillotine method, which is where they use like a large pair of like nail clippers that you could buy for your actual human nails. And they push out the cat's nail and they clip them off. Or the newer technology, they use a laser to burn the claws off. Or a tendinectomy, which is where they sever the tendons that enable the cat to retract their claws. But without being able to retract their claws, they're still there. So the people will have to file them down for the cat because they can no longer push them out. So none of these methods are really very good, and they're all very painful. In fact, pawproject.com says that they're so painful that pharmaceutical companies use them to test the effectiveness of pain medications. And Dr. Karen Tobias, an associate professor in small animal surgery at the University of Tennessee College of Veterinary Medicine, conducted a study on declawing. And he said that cats will typically whine or cry or lick at their paws to show pain, but sometimes they don't do that, and they end up sleeping a lot to escape the pain. They just curl up, and then you'll never know they're actually in pain. And the pain from this can last several days depending on how much of the anesthesia is administered to them, according to ASCPA.org. So the surgery also involves a lot of risk, including excessive bleeding. They become prone to infection, and it's accompanied by severe pain. And if it's done incorrectly, the claw can actually try to grow back, which can cause nerve damage. They can grow back crooked. It'd be very painful for the cat. And they'll actually sometimes splinter off, which is what you see here. In this little x-ray, is the bone will splinter off and cause even more pain to the cat. The cats have to learn how to re-walk because they're essentially missing their toe. The cat's paw is made where they have to use their whole paw to walk, and without that piece, they're now relying on most of their whole leg to help them walk. So that can cause arthritis and back pain for the cat. They're more likely to not use the litter box because the texture of the sand will irritate that open wound, so they're going to associate it with pain and not want to use it, and be more likely to go to the bathroom with soft materials like your laundry or your bed. And if an owner's not going to tolerate scratching, they're certainly not going to tolerate that. They'll become, in some cases, more aggressive because you've now taken away their first line of defense. So they're going to resort to biting to protect themselves, and they're going to become more withdrawn. Many countries have already banned the practice of declawing. Nearly 24 countries, including Australia, England, and Japan, according to PETA.org. The Humane Society of the United States is completely against declawing, except in cases where it is medically necessary, such as the removal of cancerous nail bed tumors. Cat owners should not declaw their cats. Now that I've told you about the problems that can arise from declawing your cat, I'm going to tell you some cruelty-free alternatives to declawing your cat. There's, of course, regular nail trimmings, which is a good practice to start where there's still kittens, because you don't want to be holding down an adult-sized cat and trying to trim his nails. Or PETA.org recommends buying a scratching post with rough carpet on it, playing with toys. PawProject.com says don't play with them with your bare hands. Some people are afraid of cats scratching them, getting infection. So to cut down on that, play with them instead with toys so that it can differentiate between when it's okay to play with you and when it's not, so that you cut back on that risk of getting infections if they are to scratch you. You can prevent them from ruining furniture by covering them in plastic or foil, or there's special little sticky strips that you can buy. Cats don't like the stickiness, so when they sit on it, that's a good deterrent, keeps them from getting on furniture. Never use physical force to discourage a cat from doing something like that. Use a loud, firm voice. They don't like loud noises, or you could squirt them with water. They also don't like water. So to review, today I've given you information about cats' claws and the declawing process, told you about the problems that can arise from this surgery, and some good cruelty-free alternatives to declawing your cat. Cat owners should not get their cats declawed. According to pawproject.com, only 11% of veterinarians will tell people about the problems that can arise from doing the procedure. And it's my belief if people did more research on this procedure and veterinarians would tell people more about what can happen if they do this to their cat, a lot less people would get this procedure done.